Hello friends, welcome to the studio. Today we are engaged in the exciting activity of recording drums. So let's dig right into it. The first and by far the most important step to great drum recordings is getting it right at the source. So making sure your drums are in tune, they're resonating the amount that you want them to. Choose the best shells that you can for the job, the best heads you can for the job, the best cymbals you can for the job, right? If we can go ahead and have something sound amazing and get the microphones to capture it, we have very little work to do later on. Another big part of this is knowing what it is that you're recording, what sounds you're going for, what style. So what we're doing today is some work for this rapper named Absent Minded, and he wants to do his rap verses over like big rock stuff. But it's a little bit different than like that late 90s, early 2000s kind of nu metal thing. It's got a little bit more funk to it, a little bit more groove, but it's still really heavy and still definitely rap rock. So I made sure to dial in sounds that are aggressive, that are lower, like my kick and my toms are tuned pretty much just above a wrinkle, with the rezzos just a little bit higher. My snare is tuned kind of medium high and has got a good crack to it. So just to show you in the room how the kit sounds just without any microphones except for what's on the camera. Speaking of microphones, I am a little more elaborate than normal when I'm tracking drums, in part because of the style of music, right? We're thinking ahead. I know that this is a really aggressive, really big rock track. I'm going to need a lot of control, I'm going to need a lot of detail, and I'm going to need to be able to use different pieces of gear to get some really good aggression while still keeping the integrity of the drum sound. On the kick drum, we have a kick in and a kick out today. Normally, I just have a kick in. For the kick in, I'm using an Audix. A lot of times I use a D112, but I found this old microphone kicking around. Oh, it got moved a little bit. There we go. And I decided I wanted to try it, and I recorded a sample of it yesterday, and it sounded pretty cool. So I'm going to use it on this. This is nice and aggressive, got a lot of top end, super scooped out mid-range. Sounds cool. On the kick out, we have a CAD M179. It's a very inexpensive condenser microphone, but it sounds pretty cool in a lot of applications, including on the kick out. We have snare top and bottom. On top, I have this Sennheiser E604. And then on bottom, we have SM57. On the toms, both of them, we have a 13 by 9 and a 16 by 16, and they both have these 604s. For the overheads, we have small diaphragm condensers, a pair of them, kind of in a space pair. I did take some care to put the snare drum in the middle because it drives me crazy whenever it's not. Those are Shure SM81s. Then over here in front of the kit, we have this kind of funky microphone. This is just a Sennheiser 609, like you would use for a guitar cab. It's just looking at the drum kit back maybe 5-6 feet from where the kit is. And I'm smashing the crap out of it with a Warm Audio 1176 FET compressor on the all buttons in setting. This is just my absolute mono aggression trash microphone. For rooms, which this is, still kind of a small room. It's not super live, but it's also not super dead, and you can get some pretty good sounds out of here. For rooms, I'm using this kind of inexpensive pair of ribbon mics. They are Samson VR88s. I don't believe you can buy them anymore, but They are really good, and they used to be very inexpensive. And you notice I have them side facing the kit rather than having the front face the kit. And that is because ribbon microphones are in a figure 8 pattern. So they accept sound sources from the front here or from out the back, and they reject sound from the side here. And what I want for my room mics is very much more of a reflective sound. I don't want a direct sound coming off them because I'm using it in a small room to create some ambience in space. And I found that that's the best way in a small room like this to create that kind of space and that almost sort of natural reverb, so we feel like we're in a bigger, fancier, cooler studio rather than my garage with the washing machine running in the background. So that's the setup. Now let's go over to the console because we have a lot of processing going in, and I might actually be adding a little bit more. So here on track 1, we have the kick-in mic. We're going to engage that at EQ. As you can see, we're giving it a little bit of 60. We're taking away a little bit of like around 300-ish. We're giving it a little like 4K, 4.5K. And we'll engage that EQ. Channel 2 is kick out. We're giving it a lot of 60. We're taking away a ton of mid-range and a ton of top end. This, like we said, that's our boom and thud mic. Channel 3 is our snare top. We are taking out, looks like maybe some 7-800. We're adding a little bit of maybe like 6K-ish. Snare bottom, we're adding a good amount of like maybe around 200. And we're taking out some mid-range. Not sure what that is, maybe 700 or 800. And we're adding a little bit of 12K sizzle on top. And we have our rack tom. We're taking away some 500. We're taking away some maybe like 1K-ish. It's probably going to be similar for the floor tom. Yep. Then with the overheads and rooms, we're just kind of taking out some of those mid-rangey room resonances. And we're just doing one small cut on the mono room mic around maybe 1.5K. And that will all be committed to tape and or to hard drive. Just like that. So when we go in to mix it, all of these cuts are going to be all recorded there. So we're not going to have to spend a whole ton of time in the mixing process just trying to get rid of treble frequencies that we probably shouldn't have recorded anyway. We're doing that on the way in. We're also running that 1176, and I'm thinking about putting another 1176 on snare bottom on the way in. Just so I have a little bit more sort of ghost notes coming out of the snare bottom, and I can, in the mix down, I can more aggressively gate the snare top if I need to. And I'm thinking about putting a 3630, an Elisa's 3630 on my overheads. It's a very inexpensive compressor, but it's super cool and works great on a lot of drum applications. In fact, I have one on my drum bus when I route all these guys to a group. They go through my 3630, and we can have a lot of fun with that. You can dial in some really funky stuff. So that's what's going on this end. that's a really good starting point. There are things that you can do, and if there are different kinds of music, you might want to take some different approaches or whatever. But for recording kind of heavier modern rock, this is a really great way to do it. And it's kind of my default approach when I want to go big and have lots of different sources and lots of different ways to capture the kit. So I'll keep you posted when that Absent Minded EP comes out. It's going to be pretty fantastic. This song is called Legendary, and we tracked 2 more today, and it was a lot of fun. Let's listen to playback.